as possible. So what I want to do at this time is really thank PSA for being there for us in our time, being there for us in our time when we need their support, and things like that. So what happened is that Miss Herrera, even though she's doing most of the talking, because she has been in it long before me, so therefore she will have a little more knowledge about, most of it.
How long have you been a supplemental police officer?
Well, actually, I've been a supplemental police for the past 10 years, but I've only been in the PSA, the union thing, for just about a year and something, so I'm just getting myself in tune with everything. So
we appreciate you coming and being present within your attunement, so to say.
Yes. I mean, when you want to gain knowledge, you have to put yourself in places as much as possible to get whatever.
Correct.
So therefore, most of the time I'll be passing it on to Miss Herrera because of the knowledge that she has.
Yes.
And I too will learn a lot in the process.
We all are.
Yeah.
We, of course, thank you both for being here and taking the time to be here today and taking the time to share with us the information that is important for us to know about.
So we have a section in the PSA. So for the supplemental police who doesn't know that, we do have a section. We do deal with grievances and things like that. But before I go on, I want the Supplemental Police of Trinidad and Tobago to know that the Public Service Association of Trinidad and Tobago Supplemental Police section, we are about to have our elections, and all members of the Supplemental Police section of the PSA are invited to a general membership meeting for the purpose of election officers. The date will be the 24th of July 2012. At the time, 9:30 a.m. Venue, Ministry of Health Education Division, Goodwood Building, Henry Street, Port of Spain. We have our agenda, the opening prayers, officers' remarks, election of officers. We'll be electing our chairperson, vice chairperson, secretary, assistant secretary, 5 committee members, general council delegates, and 2 delegates to conference.
Now, is there a policy in place, like crossing, is there a policy in place whereby notification of some kind is sent out to the supplemental police officers, making them aware of the membership of the PSA?
Well, normally we will go to different offices and we do flyers. We do a lot of flyers and we do a lot of, well, at this point in time, all we had before was going to different ministries and let them know that we are here, and by word of mouth,
And is there something in place, or is there going to be some sort of policy in place whereby when a person signs up to become a supplemental police officer, that they receive the literature that includes the option as well of becoming a member of the PSA, of the Public Services Association?
That will be put in place as time goes along. What is happening at this time? Most persons are aware of the PSA in their ministries because of the Joint Consultation Committee, the GCC. Now, each ministry is mandated through the public administration to have a GCC member of the PSA in their ministry. The reason for this is that all problems within that ministry is to be handled through the GCC member. Now, if that member cannot handle that problem, or the member feels, of our section feels that is not being handled the way it's supposed to be, after it's been taken through the GCC member to the PS, because that committee is made up of the permanent secretary, deputy permanent secretary, HR director, and the person who was elected as a GCC member, and I believe a person from each section of the ministry. However, the grievance handling process is that the person, once you have a grievance, anything that you're not comfortable with is considered a grievance. And that grievance is written. You must put it in writing because a lot of times PSA cannot act if it is not written. So you have to put it in writing, send it to the president of PSA who directs the letter to the section. The section then investigates the matter. Most of the times we try to contact the PS. Most of the PS are very willing and helpful. And we have meetings with them with our section. We go there armed with all our law books and rules and regulations, and we have discussions with them and the members. Most of the positions that we went to speak of was handled amicably, and the PS and they sent letters thanking the executive for our presence there, and they will run smoother within the section, and we explain to them what they are supposed to do when it comes to the supplemental police and what the supplemental is supposed to do for the ministry. So what we do is make them aware of what their functions are if they're not quite sure, or we try to revise them of their situation and let them know what are their responsibilities towards their ministry and what are their responsibilities and what are the ministry's responsibilities towards them. After we finish that, if there's any further dealing, which is like to go to court, things like that, this matter will be handled by the executive members. If the person was taken with a tribunal to court and things like that, one-man tribunal, or sometimes it ends up in the industrial court, the matters, that will be handled by the executive and its lawyers or consultants at that time.
Now, Denise Herrera, how long have you been a supplemental police officer?
9 years and 8 months. This year it will make me 10 years in the supplemental police. Actually, it was something I said I wouldn't be there after 5 years. I gone. Actually, I'm a person that doesn't really matter. I like to move and to prosper and to grow. So it takes me. I don't stay long if I think a place is not challenging enough for me. But when I went to Ministry of Local Government under Ephraim Robinson was the inspector at that time, and he made me like the job because I got to go out into the market and see how they pick up when they go and they pick up fees from the vendors. I got to see how we had to be and position ourselves for pickpocketers in the markets, how we had to run them down. It was a lot exciting, it's challenging, it's tiring, but those things made me like the job a little more because I was trained on the field. When it was carnival time, we and the police had to be in the crowd. Some of us were in uniform, some was out of uniform, and we were in the crowd and we were looking for people who were pickpocketing people while they were in the crowd, and that was part of our job. It's an element of danger because a man tried to hit me just so because somehow he recognized me from the corporation because I was in uniform at that time, and police just grabbed him one time because all of us were kind of like there together and whining but going through the crowd, but we worked together. And then we have another time when the corporation had passed a law about license, and we were checking to see if the bars who were selling had the proper license to sell to the public, and if they had their food badges and everything like that. So while we went down the East West corridor, we were checking all those things, and that is part of our job to ensure the safety of the public, whether it be to check for the badges or food license, whether it be that they can sell to the public, whether they're selling to minors, whether they're pickpocketing people. And I got to like the job. And then I said, but why it is that you're also underpaid, and why are they treating you all like that? And I'm a person who always willing to take up a course.
Because you're risking life and limb.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, why? Yeah, we're risking everything for our country, our people. And as far as everybody's concerned, it's like, it's just a job, but we do it and we do it with our heart and soul. And when we went out there, I got to learn the job and like the job, how to affect an arrest of a person, because I didn't like, what do I mean by arrest? we offer caress, what to talk about on these things. And you're actually by telling it on paper and doing it as two different things.
Mm-hmm.
You know, how to hold a man, so when you grab him, he wouldn't escape and this kind of things. And you know, you're out there and you're just doing your job. When you catch a man tiffin, how to write up a case, things like that. Those things intrigue me to learn the law and to know I was doing something so much better than just sitting down and number crunching or writing up a book. I was out there actually working, trying to help people.
You're in the front line.
Yeah, on the front line, and that made me like the job even better. But at the rate of pay they're paying in terms of compete with the private sector and other companies, it's really hard. And officers and the challenges they have in terms of traveling and the little bit of people we have where we're so undermanned in all the ministries, it is very challenging and it's heart-rending sometimes when I'm to just see like, you know, the senior officers have the ability to give you what you want, but yet still it's like, don't really need that. Then mashing up all the vehicles. Look at how certain people say we mashing up all the vehicles, but here's what they do. If they buy one vehicle for your section, there's one in about 10 years. And when they do give you a vehicle, now you have to man an estate, which you do need. Sometimes you need foot patrol. You may need a motorcycle, depends on the terrain. Or you need those heavy patrol vehicles that could go through rugged terrain, because some of our areas that we have to patrol partly mountainous. It even have gullies, hills, valleys. You have all kind of animals on the estate. And if you don't have a proper vehicle and you stick in one of them big mud holes like a pond, you can't come out of that. They give you vehicles that are section used, and it just not cutting it. The vehicle the section used it's about how much 10, 20 years old, and they expect that from the time they give it to you that it was good. They send it to fix, so it's good for you. But when you check, the vehicle's so old that every time they change a part, the next part goes. Another time we had a vehicle, they just sent it to the shop and it reached back in the end, and before it could reach out the gate, a whole part of it fell out from inside the vehicle from the front. And when it's like, oh, you know, like we don't deserve to have new vehicles. Every section may deserve it, but except the estate police. And we have to protect the government properties. We must, and a vehicle for every section is important. You have to go and carry cash. Imagine you have a whole vehicle following a vehicle, right? And your vehicle can't go more than 30, 40 miles an hour. And imagine somebody come to rip off that vehicle and you have to run them down. Why you run them down? Your job is to call the police and them, because they are going to escape. You're attempting to run them down, you can't, because the vehicle is not functioning. They give you a vehicle, it's so tight that when you have your arms and ammunition on you, it's so tight that it's sticking you, and if you make a mistake by chance and put your hands down and touch your trigger by accident, you could harm the driver, harm yourself, or whoever sitting in front of you, or harm the vehicle. You know, and these are the things, the challenges that we face. But we tell them about it, we try to work on it within the sections. All we could do, the money is the problem they're telling us is, well, you know, we're not getting no money and they're treating us like this. But all we can do is try to work on it, and the heads of section will try their best to get things done that we can be more comfortable. But those are the things that officers face, and the problem of the whole thing is that if they don't buy us as a partner with them, we cannot go forward, because if they think that it's just we alone being eroded in the public service, I don't believe that, because if 11,000 jobs are right now open, and there's 11,000 contract workers, what will happen in the next few years? There will be no public service to protect the coast of the Trinidad and Tobago, and we'll be like Jamaica and those other places, and Venezuela, when the government out of power. You out of power too, because you're working for that government, and when you lose the election, like in Jamaica, they say there's actually coming, a friend nice for me, there's actually coming to the office and pull you out of the office, pull you out of the house, and take back the house and take back the office because the next section win. So you're not entitled to a job, you're not entitled to nothing. That is really destabilizing the economy, things like that. Public services to keep the economy safe, but instead people look at us as a threat and say, oh, the public service, you as a PNM because you work under PNM, but it's not that. That's just the governments, and when they change, It's just their excuse to do what they want to do, but we must uphold the laws that they pass in the parliament. Once you've passed a law in parliament, it is our obligation to carry out that law and to keep it. Unless that law has changed, then there's no way. But once the law has not changed on the books, we must uphold all the laws of Trinidad and Tobago to protect its property, its people as a whole, and people are first.
So have these grievances or have these issues been addressed? Are they being addressed?
Well, yes, and at least for my section, I could say my PS tries. But the problem is, it is not up to her only. She could bring a plan forward or something and says, well, but it is when it goes to the cabinet, it's the government to say, what we giving all this we need this project better here, whatever. So the thing is that they need to understand where the responsibility lies. I think what we should do, what we have going on within our section, we've had a meeting where they brought us together through the law enforcement policy, organizational law enforcement policy, and we have something called the Way Forward, the Trinidad and Tobago Supplemental Police, to address all these problems. They've asked us, the Minister of National Security, I believe, asked our section to put forward a plan as to how we intend to take the whole section forward. So to bring people forward, we decided that we're going to first show them, want them to buy into the whole thing of going forward with us and what we need to do. We have a whole proposal, a plan, and a structure that to structure the whole thing, that to take us out. We will still be in the ministries, but we will have like a head office, just like police has their head office, a PSA police, so we be PSA police. But we're working along with them, and we will have a permanent secretary, a member of parliament over us, or maybe a junior minister or something. We'll have superintendents, and we'll have assistant superintendents, and this way you'll have higher ranks. And because the problem in public service also is promotion. If you don't have a corporal post, and after 5 years they tell us when you go to service commission, after 5 years you become a corporal. Well, it's more than 5 years for both of us.
Yes.
And appointing a person is a problem.
Yeah,
There are so many officers that get appointed in the public service, not only us, when they want to retire. They have people acting in certain positions.
Isn't it that after 2 years we are supposed to be appointed?
Yes, according to terms and conditions, yes.
We are supposed to be appointed. I personally have worked 10 and more years.
Never been appointed.
Yeah. Well,
I'm still temporary.
Whose responsibility is that to ensure that you are appointed?
Well, it has to come from, we wrote all it now. First of all, after 2 years, I said it is up to you to write. You, the person, after 2 years, can write the service commission through your heads of department to be appointed, which I have made my section do. I've made everybody in my section do that. Write their letters and ask for their appointment. And after they've done that, it went to service commission. They told us that they are working on it at this time, but apparently the moving with them have caused their records to be in some sort of mess. So they're trying to fix it, and soon they will do the promotions and appointments. That's what I was told, talking to a clerk there who's on our desk, the supplemental police, right? And we're hoping it will work out soon, but the executive has to push it a little more.
So, but we are working on that. Yes. We are really working on that.
We are trying hard to get it sorted out.
Up to our last meeting that we had on Tuesday gone, we had discussed that. So we are putting things in place to where people who are already employed as supplemental police would be appointed and promoted. So we are working on that.
So how many supplemental police officers at this point in time are members of the PSA?
In terms of that, we have roughly about 300 members when we last counted, but there's 494 officers in the public service. Well, 494 minus the amount of persons who retired within the last few years around the public service. So we may be about
close to 400.
Yeah, about that
Yeah.
right now in the public service, and a lot of the persons have places have not been replaced. The places are vacant, so we are hoping that the public service will hurry up because they have sent out an ad. We can't blame them because they are working with us a little bit. I could say,
Yeah.
yeah, we have to give jacket. They had an ad out to hire persons, and people have applied, but mostly females because men, because they kind of pay the pain. People say, oh, hey, better we go fire, and I have here ad for fire. It's the same trio levels, everything, and you believe that fire is being paid more than us, and we are out there more times than fire. I know their jobs are just as has a lot of threat, just like us, or even more. I can't say more because it's different forms of threats that we have.
Yeah.
Because
Dealing with different issues. Yeah.
because they have their threat is basically just fire, cutting a man out of a vehicle. I think our job is not just to cut a man out of a vehicle. We have to know how to do that because we are bounded by all the laws of OSHA, just as they are. And we get the same trio levels. We have more policing duties to do. We are constantly on our feet every day.
Actually, while they are cutting people out of the vehicle, we are supposed to protect them.
Yeah, and we are protecting them. Even that, yes, it's true. And we have to constantly learn fire drills because in case fire takes place in our department, in our ministry, we need to know how to operate the fire hose and everything to take care of our ministry.
Therefore, that's supplemental police.
Yeah.
We do policing, we do fire extinguishing, we do health care. Because if someone if someone falls sick or anything like that, we need to we need to know how to direct people when there's any situation and things like that. So we are
everything.
We are more or less a little bit of everything put together.
In the line of fire.
Yeah, we're totally. And the threats are constant to us at all times. We have mad people. We have to know how to deal with the mad people.
Yes.
Yeah, like, oh yes, those who are insane. Like, if a person truly goes insane in your department, you have to be able to help them. A lady fell in our department, I remember. They said she was cold sweat and whatever. I said, that's hard, take her. I said, first to take her one time to the hospital. She didn't want to go. And you believe she died the same when they carried her in the hospital. Not the same day, but the next day. She died.
Cause of death? Heart attack.
Yeah. So you have to know how to identify these things. And you see people, sometimes they say a man coming frothing at the mouth. You ain't going to give him mouth to mouth because at any frothing, poison. First thing you have to think about, he drank something that is poisonous.
And it may seem simple to people. We may be sitting at a desk, but every time a person walks into your office, but I normally work in an office. When somebody walks in there, you must be able to identify. You must be able to read that person's body language, know what they're coming with, know if they're coming in a good way, in a bad way.
He's a threat. You
must be able to identify these things. Yeah. You understand? In order you can remember, you are protecting.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No problem.
Mark. Definitely, you're protecting and saving in the line of fire.
Yeah, always.
And so, either one of you can answer this question, or both of you can answer this question. The choice is yours. In terms of, since you've been members members of the PSA, the Public Services Association, how has the membership served you thus far in terms of addressing some of the issues that are present for the supplemental police officers?
For me, I see them. They're working for us. But being part of the committee, I know it is our job also to even work even a little harder. But PSA, as such, is working together with us to help us to work in order to help on the outside there and let people know, let the supplemental police know that they have a union backing them. So they helping us with whatever education that might be needed, and helping us to like go to the ministry and let them know, well, this is what. So as a union, I believe, for me personally, I believe they are doing what they supposed to be doing, because education is important in the sense that to know how to go ahead,
That's right.
and because everything we more or less, since I've been in the committee, everything, since I've been in the section really, everything that we brought to them, they try their best to help us, with whatever situation. Okay, so as far as I'm concerned, they are there for us, and I want the supplemental police out there who don't know, PSA is there for us.
Well, again, as stated earlier, this is the first labor union, the Public Services Association, the PSA. This is the first union in the region that now has a voice
Okay.
with this radio station, and of course the TV program that airs every Sunday on UNI and PSA on Channel 6 on CTV. So it's important that you go out into your sections and continue to share with them that we now have a voice. Everyone now has a voice. This is a facilitator, this is a vehicle that is here and available to all of the members within the PSA and all of the sections, so that section members can come to the radio station and air the views, as well as go on the TV program that airs every Sunday from 12:30 to 1:30 on Channel 6 CTV and CNMG. So please continue to spread the word and share the word, because this is the only labor union right now in the region that has this vehicle that's available to everyone, all the members within the PSA. So yes, you're meeting within your section on a regular basis to address the necessary grievances, but also you now have a voice through the medium of the radio and the TV program to air your grievances on a broader scale, so to say, regionally as well as globally, because we are global here at PSA. We do stream live on the internet, and please share with everyone that they can go on the website and they can tune in, as well as they can download TuneIn on a TuneIn application on their smartphones, and continue to tune into PSA Radio. So we're very, very grateful that you all felt inspired to be able to come this morning and share some of the grievances within your section and within the supplemental police officers section. And so I want to ask Denise a question. Denise, you mentioned earlier about the municipal police. You talked a little bit about the municipal police, and that some people may not necessarily know what the difference is between a supplemental police officer and a municipal police officer. So if you could shed some light and inform us as to what the difference is between the two.
The only difference between them and us is that actually two. They were estate police, most of them.
They were what, sorry?
They were supplemental police, and they were given the option to go over. They are now under age 21. However, they do the same jobs we do within the corporation, only within the boundaries of the corporation which they work under, whether it's held by a chairman or whether it is held by a mayor. So they do the same functions, but the thing with them is that so far that we know, their job is contract. I believe they had a 2-year contract. I don't know if they have increased it since then, right? But I saw that Service Commission recently advertised internally, so those who want to go over can go, but they are on contract. We, however, are permanent. We are placed within the public service, and we are permanent. We do have regulations that guide us. They don't have regulations that guide us. The court recently give the section, the municipal police, they give them, I think, 6 months to come back with them with regulations. They can probably adopt ours or that of the police, because we're the same. It's just that we work, they work within their division or municipality. I should say. But we work within all of Trinidad and Tobago because all government ministries, if I go there, I'll have to change my precept. My precept or my FAC will say all government ministries, it stays under as it is when I move to any section or any new ministry. But they wouldn't, when they leave municipal police to go anywhere else in any other ministry to work, which they won't be able to actually, they would have to change their precepts to our precept, back to our precepts. So that's the difference between them. Their precept and FSC can only work as within the confines of their boroughs or their areas of the corporations. There are 14 corporations throughout Trinidad and Tobago, so it can only work in that corporation in which they are assigned to, whether it's Tunapuna or Digo Martin. They will be under Digo Martin Municipal Police, will have Digo Martin, and their precepts say they can only work within that area, no other area.
Let me ask you this question. I'm going to ask both of you, give each of you an opportunity to share with the listeners and the viewers, because we're having recorded, and people are able to hear as well as to see. So the choice is each individual's choice. So again, the question is in terms of the issues or the grievances within the job, what inspires each of you? What is the inspiration that inspires you to continue to do the work that you do despite the issues that are big within the job that you do? I'll ask Denise first to answer that question, Denise Herrera.
For me, it's just that I like to see everything go good. And for the people that are there and with them, they're all, as everywhere else, they have a multitude of different behavior patterns and things like that. And not everything every day goes up and up. But they work hard and they enjoy what they do. And I hear these stories of them of the yesterday and how they were treated. They were sleeping on benches, and that time they had to put 2 chairs up in the country and mosquito biting them all night. They had to light leaves. But basically, my thing is, I'm serving my country, and that I do like. And I think I work without fear and favor, and government go, government come. I will serve my country and my minister to the best of my ability. I will not put any preference to anybody who's holding that office. The office, I serve it because that office could be anybody in there. And that my job is just to serve. And I love the people I work with, whether they like me or not. And a lot of the times we get a lot of nuts because sometimes if I get too pushy, but you can't help that. But jealousy is part of life. But I work with myself and God, and I love God, and He says to love each other as you love yourself. And if I love myself, I'm supposed to love my commands, and I practice it. So I want to serve because I want to see them get better, for them to go forward, and I want to leave a legacy saying, well, I have started it.
And you made a difference.
Yes, and I made a difference. That's important.
And I thank you very much for sharing that, Denise Herrera, and thank you very much also for putting your life on the line, on the front line, so to say, on a regular basis for us, for all of us here, the citizens and everyone who is residing in our country. Thank you very, very much for putting yourself on the line, your life and limb, so to say. And so I'd like to ask the same question of Alicia Batiste. Mark, what inspires you to continue to protect and serve, and despite the issues within the supplemental police officer section that exists right now, why do you continue to do the job that you do?
First of all, I must say that I love people. I love being a parent. You learn how to protect, to see things go right, and with that, when I go to my office and you meet people with different issues and things like that, helping people, because that is part of our job too, to help wherever necessary, and being there for someone, because it is very interesting to know the kind of thing you face every day, and every day is a new thing. It's not Every day is not the same. It's a new thing, and
So that keeps the job interesting.
yes, it does.
There's no room for boredom.
And if you notice, I'm really a smiling person. People come in where I work and they say, but you know what? It's the first time I walk in a place and I see a police, well, they say police, who is smiling. I said, well, I just can't help myself. But when the situation arises, you will see the change.
There you go. Don't take that smile. Don't take the kindness for weakness. Don't take that smile for weakness.
I mean, the smile could go on, but the job gets done.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
Yes.
that.
Important.
So, meeting people is another part of it, and by meeting people, you learn a lot. You learn a lot from different societies. Not every society, even though we are in one country, it's not the same. So therefore, you deal with each individual as they come.
Yes, and you learn their cultures too, because you have foreign
Yes,
ministers.
yeah.
You have to learn how to greet them.
Yes.
You have to learn how to talk
address
to, how to address them. You write them properly. You must salute and things like that. And it's important, and sometimes they just like to be there talking to you, and sometimes some of them can't speak English properly, but they're there, and they're like, you're always helping them, and they're like, they want to tell you something, but whatever they tell you, even the people where you work, they tell you sometimes the deepest secrets. And you can talk as much as you want, but you must know to hold everybody's secret. Everybody's secret is your secret. So you can talk all the secrets you want, but people's business and problems that you help them through is confidential. So you keep it to your heart, and all the talk you may talk, all the secrets they're talking about, you can talk a million miles an hour, but you help the person through their times, and you keep the business confidential.
So Denise Herrera, what are your closing remarks now, as we're winding down and tying up the interview right now? What do you feel most passionate about that you'd like to share with the viewers and the listeners today? What are the closing remarks that you have to share with everyone?
First, I want to thank you all for having us here.
You're most welcome on behalf of the PSA.
Yes, and the PSA and its executive, and for even changing the dynamics of change that they actually are moving forward. But I want our section, the supplemental police section of the government service, to go forward. I want them to join our vision, our motto, to move forward. And when we're having our next meeting in tandem with OLAP and the PSA.
If you could share again when the next meeting is scheduled.
Well, the next meeting should be scheduled for about the 24th of June. It is not actually dated yet, because we have to meet with the ASP of Health, who is the head of the whole supplemental police of the Trinidad and Tobago under the public service. And he has some interviews and things going on, so we're supposed to meet with him next week to make a date, and then we will solicit the PSA in advance of some money to help us with lunches for our people. And we will
that one time.
Yes, I'm plugging it. And we also need to have that we would like all the members, if we could get as much people. We know we're police and we cannot leave the government ministries vacant, but we would like as much people that could attend, and we want to go forward with this proposal, and we're going to be sending out literature when we finish of the way forward, our proposal, our structure that we propose to go with, and you, the people who will be advancing to a higher level, we would like you all to make it all possible by supporting us and supporting the PSA. So we thank you all for even having us and voting us in as members, and we hope in the next elections that we will see new people taking up the mantle and going forward with PSA, because we can't do it all by ourselves. We need new people, we need change of persons and thoughts, and everything that you do or say is well received and accepted. Nothing you can say can be foolish.
Thank you so much for sharing, Denise Herrera. And
Thank you.
you're most welcome. And Alicia, excuse me, Alicia Batiste Mark, if you can share with us your closing remarks as we wrap up the interview today.
Okay, I'm still nervous.
You are. Oh my goodness! After 2 hours.
This has been a real exciting time for me. Just this moment being here, because
We're
I
excited.
never
You're excited.
I never, you never know where PSA will take you when you get up in the morning.
That's true.
Because when I came
You
here,
keep it interesting. Then.
Yeah.
That's what you're saying.
you understand, and this is what I see a union being as, going out there for the people, reaching the people, and letting them know that, here what, they don't have to be as it is. There are changes can be made, and there are possibilities, and no possibility is impossible without working together. So I'm just excited but still nervous. And I am letting PSA know that once they work with me, for me, I will work together with them.
Yes.
So it's Karyn PSA Public Service Association, where cannot be reached.
Yes.
Always be above the rest, and always, So I want to thank PSA President Mr. Duke for allowing us this time here, allowing me this time here, because we may look insignificant, but he has made us, special, and we want to thank everyone who made it possible very much. And you, as our host, you were very nice.
Thank you.
And you made us comfortable. Well, I'm still nervous. But I want to thank you all.
Well, Alicia Batiste Mark beautifully stated indeed. And Denise Herrera, thank you so much, both of you, for the time that you all took this morning to come and share some of the grievances amongst supplemental police officers, and certainly you have taken the opportunity to bring greater awareness to the public as to what's happening within your area of employment. And I will take the liberty at this point and say, on behalf of the PSA, the Public Services Association, thank you so much. And on behalf of members of the public like myself and others, thank you so much for putting yourselves on the front line and constantly being there to protect and serve us. And this is just the first step, one of the first steps rather, in bringing greater awareness and airing some of the issues within or amongst supplemental police officers. And this should be a step. From here we go from strength to strength to strength. And as mentioned, this is the oldest labor union in the region, and the first to have its own radio station. And we're happy that you are some of the first to come and share with us some of the grievances amongst supplemental police officers. So thank you again for serving us constantly, for putting your life and limb out there for us constantly, and thank you for coming on the air live and braving it, so to say, to share yourselves with us and some of what you do and some of the issues. And our thoughts and prayers are constantly with you for protection. I may see you out there and then I will say hi, remember me?
Yeah.
So thank you again very, very much, and we look forward to our continued relationship in communicating with each other. So thank you, Denise Herrera and Alicia Batiste Mark, for coming on PSA Radio this morning. And we want to thank all of you who tuned in to PSA Radio, the radio station, of course, that continues to keep you informed and entertained. And that is what we did a lot of this morning, informing you, the general public. So keep it locked at radio.psatt.org, the information station, and entertainment as well. Thank you, ladies. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
So welcome. You're welcome.
So it was nice meeting you.
Yes, I'm going to walk you out. I'm going to visit you.
Who's umbrella?
Communicate.
Who's umbrella?
That's nice.
Let me just stop recording this. I just realized it's
Okay. That was my yellow umbrella. I don't know.
So we get to see the website.
Oh yes, you need to leave me your contact information.